Food, 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 food. Food, 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 food. Oh, the food! I cannot wait for the food. Yes, 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 yes. Oh yes, oh yes.
Right, he should be alright. If you just want to step around that side for me, Rebecca. If I get you just onto that part there. You can just keep
Hey, buddy.
Yeah, that's right, just there.
You're a shiny young man, aren't you? Yeah. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Yes, 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 yes.
And all that can go in the water. And I might let the keep going to play in it. Right then folks, let's say the water level is still fairly low, just where we've seen the pool this morning. It does mean that you should all stay dry at this point of the time. When the pool's normally full, there are penguins in here that like to smash people on purpose. And both the culprits are down at the far end right now, so you should be dry today. But just in case you see one with no colour on the side of the beach, or a big fat king penguin, they are deliberate splashes, as I say. So what we'll do, we'll make a start on the talk for you whilst we're up here. And the first thing to tell you about penguins is that there are currently 17 different types of penguin. Now, there is some debate. There might be 18, there might be 19. They're currently deciding whether there's one type of rockhopper, 2 or 3. So they're studying the DNA on them right now. So we'll say 17 for argument's sake. And all 17 types of penguin are found only in the southern hemisphere. So that basically means from the Antarctic up to the equator and any further north, and you'll start finding lots of other black and white fish-eating birds. So we get in this country puffins and guillemots and razorbills. They would compete for food. And also in the northern hemisphere, there's a lot more land-based predators. She's with you right there, Rebecca. She's just breeding. So penguins are only south of the equator, and the popular view is they like it cold, snowy and icy. Now, that is true of several types of penguin. It's not the case for them all. So in the wild, you can find penguins living around Australia and New Zealand. There are penguins in southern Africa and parts of South America. And you can find penguins living right on the equator, where you'll never see any snowflakes or any ice cubes at all. Ice cubes. So we currently have 27 penguins here at Birdland, and we have got 2 different types. So we have our 14 Humboldt penguins, like Billy just down here, who are found in the wild around the coastlines of Chile and Peru. We then have our 13 king penguins up at the top there, who are found in the Antarctic and places like the Falklands and South Georgia. Now, it's very important here that we get both types of penguins breeding for us, just simply because you just can't take penguins from the wild, and rightly so. And with the Humboldt penguin, they are one of the rarest birds, one of the rarest penguins on the planet today. So, although you'll see these little guys in most zoos around the UK, in the wild there's less than 40,000 of them. So, that sounds a good number. One earthquake, one oil slip, and they're in big, big trouble. So, our group here, part of the European breeding programme, just to boost the numbers back up. And with our king penguins, they're actually doing really, really well in the wild right now, with about 3.5 million out there right now. But in terms of king penguins in the zoo world, our group here are the only king penguins that you'll see in England, Wales or Ireland, and we're one of only 17 zoos across the whole of Europe to keep this sort of penguin. So to keep a captive group on the go, we've got to get them breeding, because if we lost these birds, you can't get them from the wild, and they're not available from other zoos. Now, to breed a penguin, the main ingredient is you need a male and a female, and with penguins there is no easy way to tell the difference. They generally look the same, there's no colour difference, no size difference. We used to say here that the males were the big fat ones and the girls were the small skinny ones, and then 15 years ago a big fat male called Bill laid an egg during the penguin talk, which male penguins physically can't do. So we now go down the Jeremy Carr route instead. We DNA test all of our birds to find out if they're male or female. That just involves sending a few feathers off to the vet for a blood test. And then what the Humboldts will do... She's fattening up for a molt, so she knows if I stand here I'll get more food. So that's why she's being greedy. But as I say, what the penguins will then do, Humboldt penguins will pair with the same bird for life. We've got a young group here. We've brought in a lot of penguins in the last 12 months. So they're just establishing their pairs now. They'll then nest underground in the wild or in the nest boxes that we give them here. And 2 eggs will be laid. That can go, yes. 2 eggs will be laid and incubated for about 40 days with Mum and Dad taking it in turn. When the eggs hatch out, your Humboldt penguin chicks are minute. Our last one born here weighed 73 grams and was about that tall on the day that it hatched. Now, in that sort of size and shape, compared to the sprats that we're throwing in the water, that penguin chick isn't going to catch or swallow its own food. So they stay tucked away in the nest box. Mum and Dad regurgitate partially digested food for the chicks to feed on. And the young Humboldts will stay in the nest for about 12 weeks. And when they leave, they are fully grown. With the king penguins, they do it the other way round. They don't pair for life. It's a different partner every year. They lay 1 egg for the very simple fact that they don't build a nest at all. They incubate the egg on top of their feet. So sort of around June, July time, you'll see penguins with their feet together and their bellies folded over the feet, and that's them incubating their egg. It takes 56 days to incubate a king penguin, and when again the chicks hatch out, they are minute. Now, we hatched one who's down at the far end of the pool right now last year. She's 11 and a half months old now, and when she hatched on the 29th of September, she became England's first king penguin chick for 7 years, the first one in the UK for 5 years, and the first female king penguin in the UK since 2006. So she's been a big achievement. She's the one with the black feet just by the ramp right now. And it's hard to imagine now, but on the day she hatched, she weighed 204 grams, was completely featherless, and about that tall. That sort of size and shape. Again, they're completely helpless. So Mum and Dad keep them warm, they'll feed the chick. And that chick, if it was in the wild, would be relying on Mum and Dad for about 1.5 years. Now here, we're slightly warmer than the Antarctic, and that chick has been hand-reared. So she's developed a little bit quicker. So she's now got her adult feathers. She's just in front of the windows right now, splashing around. She won't actually breed for another 4.5 years. So it's still a long way to get her up to maturity. And that's part of the reason why you don't see many king penguins in zoos. They are the world's slowest breeding bird. And as I say, she's been our major success story. Now, you might have heard about this chick in the last few months. She has featured in lots of national newspapers in the last couple of months, because where we've hand-reared her, that's also meant that we've had to teach her how to swim. So if you've seen in the newspapers about a penguin terrified of water, that was just some very clever marketing by our PR department. Now, all penguin chicks are terrified of water because they're not waterproof to start off with. When she grew her adult feathers in July, the PR company that we used decided to teach her to swim. Rather than push them in like we've always done in the past, they put me in a wetsuit and pushed me in as well. Now, she walked around the pool, she watched me, she still wasn't going in. So to teach her to swim, what we had to do, I carried her across to that rock in the middle and left her to it. She had to jump in the water to get used to swimming. We had 3 goes at that, and then the next day she was jumping in the pool by herself. So there's not many people that can say they've taught a penguin to swim. That's been our project this year. And because I've taught her, she's not particularly graceful. She is very splashy. Say if the pool was a lot fuller, you'd all be soaking wet in front of the windows right now. But she is getting the hang of it. And as I say, she's been our big story for the last couple of months. So that's that one bucket of fish. That was sprats that we've been throwing in the water. You can see the kings are coming out. They know they're going to get hand-fed much larger herring down at the bottom. So we'll make our way down to the main part of the enclosure. I'll just get Rebecca set up with some hand feeding. And then what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm just going to introduce you to every individual penguin in the group here and tell you a little bit about all 27 of them as well.
Too big. Look at that one that's got quite grey around.
This one.
Not that. This
yes,
king one. He's quite dusty. Look at his side. Look at the side bits on his head.
Female that
I don't know, but it looks quite a lot
you said the
dirtier.
beak was black. Yeah, and it's still black. That's that one. Look at them. Oh, Skip ought to come back up here.
Yeah, no, that's going on, isn't it? Boys and girls, yeah. Right, if I just pop this down this side for me. So this is our chick. She's going to keep you company all the way through as well.